Hello everyone. So I just wanted to do a quick video, and of course we have the primary continuing tomorrow in, it looks like, 6 states. We have Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, and Washington State. Um, and I would say it's probably going to look three for three. I mean, or maybe Biden, you know, gets an extra out of that. But I foresee Bernie winning Washington. Hopefully he wins Michigan. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big deal. And he did well. He just edged it out against Hillary last time. Polls show him in the head in ahead there. Excuse me. But Biden's just gaining momentum because he's starting to become more viable, and people say he's like the front runner. So he's leading in certain polls. So it's just very tenuous. I would hope to see Bernie wins in Washington, Michigan, maybe North Dakota and Idaho. I'm not sure of the demographics there, but I'm expecting Mississippi and Missouri to lean Biden. They're southern states and a lot of older voters, so you know. And I should correct too. I feel like I've probably said in the past two videos like older African American voters, but it's not just African American voters that happen to be older. It's white people that happen to be older too. This election seems to be very much a generational divide, and in the Democratic Party, the older people are trusting Biden more, and the younger people are with Bernie. So I think it's very much a generational thing that we're going to see come out of this. And it's like, to me, like, just to restate a point again that I've said before, it's like we need to have a massive voter turnout of young people. If we get young people out in droves, it's going to definitely push Bernie over the edge and hopefully clinch him the nomination. But he needs that. He needs massive voter turnout, because if there's not enough mobilization and organization on the ground to get that effort out there, it's just not going to happen. So we all need to be doing whatever we can. So the video I wanted to, the topic I wanted to talk about was first start with Warren dropping out. So, I said in my last video she should have dropped out, and the day after she did. Not saying nothing, but so she's dropped out, not endorsing anyone yet. Biden is soaking up all these different endorsements now. He's got like Cory Booker, he's got like probably Bloomberg, I think now. It's like he's just going crazy with these political endorsements, and they're all insider type figures. So it's like I have to wonder how much these endorsements help. It seems to me like on Super Tuesday it helped Biden with those Buttigieg and Klobuchar endorsements. It seems as if that had a boosting effect on Biden. But on the other hand, it's like these candidates aren't that popular anyways. So I think perhaps what it does is that instead of like those are specifically fans of Buttigieg and Klobuchar, I think people see like an official presidential candidate, someone on TV who's like, oh yeah, they must be smart. They're on TV and doing stuff. So I think a lot of older people, they just see that kind of official endorsement, and I think that tells them like, oh yeah, there's something serious to be taken here. But I mean, I don't get how you could take Biden seriously at all. I mean, like I could go on and on, but just it's a complete clown show, and he's incoherent, and just it's so baffling to me that people are really gonna get behind this, because it's like even worse than Hillary Clinton in my view. I mean, like I thought Hillary was a big problem. Like this is like Hillary, except there's no upside. Like there's no, I can't even think of an upside to Biden if I were to try. all of his upsides, if they are any upsides, like they're all in his past. He is not the political figure that he was. But okay. Excuse me. So Warren has dropped out, and she's doing a media tour, going across all these shows, getting interviewed. I think she was on SNL, and she's posting videos that she's dancing with. I think her name is Kate McKinnon, the woman who plays Elizabeth Warren on SNL. So look, she's not endorsing anyone right now. Props for doing that at least, I guess. But like, she should endorse Bernie, and it's honestly hurting him that she's waiting to do this. Like he needs that boost right now, and I think she knows what her endorsement would do for him. And I think she's probably kind of waiting for like which campaign is going to offer her something, what is the best deal for her. Like there's no, why should she have to think about this? Like why does this have to like take weeks and just be like, oh, I'm gonna like wait it out and like see what happens. Like these people are it now, and we know what they stand for, and we know that they're very different. It's like, what more do you have to learn about these people in order for you to make a decision? And it's like maybe she wants to say like, I want to go based on what the people vote for. I guess so, but like. That's not the way you're supposed to endorse. Like, that's like basically pandering. Like if you're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to endorse because people seem to like this guy. Like, you should endorse based on who you think will be the best president. So, and perhaps like who gets the agenda that you want implemented. But okay, so she's doing these interviews, and there's this, emphasis on the Bernie bro narrative still, and these mean tweets, and Warren was saying basically that we shouldn't go down the divisiveness of Trump's politics, like, and she's saying that like the Bernie Bros are doing that, they're being divisive and all this. So, look, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing this line of attack, because there's a real problem when like that's what you focus on, and people are dying because they don't have access to health care. People are dying overseas for being in endless wars needlessly. So many big problems. And it's like, this is what you're going to hold out for these supposed supporters of Bernie Sanders. We can't verify, like, every one of these people is a Bernie supporter. But even if they are, like, you can't be held responsible for some Twitter follower with like, following or has like 50 followers. Like, it's just not this is not a non-issue, and so, and if you want to turn it back around on Warren, there was the Dayton, Ohio shooter, and now I know that Warren's spokesperson put out a statement that was condemning the action, and the Dayton shooter apparently had in his Twitter feed, there was proof that he was a Warren supporter. And so, I haven't heard Warren herself specifically talk about this shooter and his supposed support of her. So, I'm tired of the double standard. And it's like, like she or anyone else that never has to answer for any of the horrible things that their supporters say. And I do see it online. Like, centrists are crazy, like, honestly. But it's like, people don't complain about that. People on the progressive side, like, we know that the internet is the internet. So, yeah, like, we're not going to go boo-hoo and, like, report you or whatever. It's like, this is life, and this is discourse. So, I don't get what's so hard about it. But it's just, Bernie's troll supporters are this big problem. And it's like, how is it that we can't roll the dice with Bernie because of a few bad apples in his supporters, but like we have to. Oh no, we have to go with this guy who probably has dementia, Joe Biden. Like it's really it it's a bad faith criticism to me, and I mean Warren is very wishy washy, and it's tricky with her because she kind of has some progressive bona fides, but you know I'm beginning to kind of just say enough is enough, and like I can't trust her because these people don't seem to share our goals. I mean, like, so if you want to take it outside of Elizabeth Warren for a second, like Biden or any of the other candidates or pundits, it's like they're going after Bernie, his supporters for being mean online. But like, these aren't good faith criticisms because they're. It's not as if they're saying like, oh well, we agree on this and that, like we should get this enacted, but your supporters are very aggressive, and I wish you would do what you can to tone that down. They're never going to stop bringing this up. They're going to keep bringing up this line of attack because it's like the most powerful thing that they have apparently. Which it doesn't seem like it's that powerful, but I think ultimately what happens is Bernie constantly has to defend this. He has to constantly be on the offense, really. It's like he has to go back against these accusations, and he never gets a chance to, put his full agenda forward then. So it's a huge distraction for Bernie. And it's making it, twice as hard that he has to basically account for every single fan that may say something mean online. I think it's just getting ridiculous at this point. And just to kind of, I suppose, like give another example of the bad faith criticism, there was a thing on CNN, this back and forth between Nina Turner, who works, I think, is like the campaign president or something for Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Rosen, who is just a surrogate for Joe Biden, was on Cuomo, his show on CNN, and they got to talking about Martin Luther King. Nina Turner brought up the quote about the white moderates, and I'll read the quote in a second. But Hillary was like, pushing back and saying like, he's like, don't use MLK's words to attack Joe Biden. I mean, meanwhile, Nina Turner didn't even actually directly attack Joe Biden. It's like she was more attacking the ideology, but it's like. Yeah, like talk about projection. It's like like we see that you're being defensive, Hillary Rosen, because you're on the wrong side of that. It's like it's ridiculous. So Hillary was basically saying that Nina Turner doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to Martin Luther King Jr. and like she doesn't have the standing to quote him in this way. But look, this is the actual quote that they were talking about, and you can decide for yourself if Martin Luther King Jr. was friendly, let's say, to white moderates. First, I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. And this is so applicable today, I think, between the centrist and progressive divide, too. Perhaps inadvertently so. This is more about race in this context, but I think it really speaks to something because it's like I think I'm beginning to see that a lot of the centrists, and it's true that some of them have bought into that ideology, but I think that they craft their talking points and they understand that the progressive ideology is more correct, if you will. Like it solves the problems for working class Americans better than the neoliberal way can. But they just kind of brush it aside and try and kind of talk over that. It's like rationalize that they're basically just kind of like you're saying, like setting a timetable. It's like, oh, we can't do all these nice things now. Like I hear all the time, people are like, oh, we can't like have a political a revolution now, like this too pie in the sky. But like, this is the problem. I mean, like, it's as if 2016 didn't even happen to these people. It's like, why do you think that people voted for a reality TV star who had no, experience in politics? And a big chunk of it was racism. That definitely contributed. But there was a lot of people, a lot of Obama to Trump's voters that were fed up with the system, that wanted change. Obama ran on change, and Trump was a change candidate too. He was anti-establishment when he ran, and so I don't know how that will bode well for Trump running this time. Like how he positions himself, but I mean he's kind of in a better position to win now because he's an incumbent. Excuse me. So that definitely helps. But okay, to get back to this Nina Turner MLK thing, Mehdi Hassan had an interesting point in response to this, and Cuomo was basically saying to Mehdi Hassan, like Bernie tweeted out like Hillary Rosen should apologize, Joe Biden should apologize, and Cuomo was like, it's like, well, she's a surrogate for Biden, so like why should she have to apologize? She's going on TV and giving a whole argument that is bullshit and trying to make Nina Turner look like a liar. This is a national platform here, and you want to talk about some Bernie bros online, some Twitter followers that maybe have like 50 followers. I don't know, like. And so Mehdi Hassan was saying, like, it's like these Bernie bros online, like, they don't work for Bernie either, and yet he's being asked to apologize for them. So it's a total double standard, and this is why I think it is a bad faith criticism. They just want to use whatever line of attack they can against Bernie, and this is, honestly what seems to have worked the most, because it kind of does everything that the centrists would want. It keeps him from talking about his agenda, and he's constantly on the defense. So I think we have to just be more careful about that now. We have to, not lay down and take these punches. We have to fight back with everything we have and, expose the hypocrisy and show that these people aren't acting in goodwill. They aren't interested in the same goals as us. So we cannot allow them to keep framing the narrative this way and therefore muddy the waters in terms of moving forward and pushing that agenda that Bernie wants to implement.